First time in over a month. Welcome back to the Purple Rain podcast. Yes. Welcome back to episode 344 of the Purple Rain podcast. Vonta Leach episode, Marlon Humphrey episode of the Purple Rain podcast. A lot to talk about, even on a bye week. But like I said, the first Monday edition of the Purple Rain podcast that was not painful in over a month. Like I said, it's been that long since we've won a game and had to have a victory Monday. But I have a good feeling that this time next week we will have the victory Monday. We'll get into that. But we have a lot of news, even with us not playing. But first off, the housekeeping rules. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10. And yes, you also have to keep our lovely ranking here in the chat. Ashley saying good evening, Sutton, Alex, and everyone. Good evening indeed. Was able to be nice watching football yesterday and not stressed about the Ravens. And got Sam saying what's up, guys. Real quick, though, I'll tell you this. It was nice watching a team absolutely choke like no other and then not be the Baltimore Ravens. That was very nice to see with the Broncos and the Giants, because if I'm waking up a New York Giants fan right now, I am pissed. I mean, it's everything I kind of saw with the Ravens, dropping 8 back into coverage, when you're already up and you just got to hold them to, if they get a field goal, they win. That's crazy. I mean, your kicker missing an extra point. I mean, it was a hell of a weekend for football. Glad we weren't playing, but how are you doing, Sutton? How was your Sunday free of stress with no Ravens?
It was good. Also a little bit boring, right? And maybe that's like the toxic relationship that I have with this Ravens team. Like, even if we are going to get our ass kicked, I still kind of want to see us play. You know what I mean? That's what I kind of felt yesterday. I found myself like kind of halfway dozing off during the 1:00 games, and I was just like, I got to stay up. I know there's no Ravens football today, but I do care about the rest of the league, and I did watch that the ending of that Giants versus Broncos game, which was very weird to me. I mean, the Broncos put up 33 points in one quarter. I mean, the Bills did something similar to us in week one, and that brings back a different type of flashback. But regardless, though, I mean, at the end of that game, it felt like Jackson Dart got a little bit sloppy, through the late quarter interception. That wasn't good. The Broncos just kept coming back, and they made Bo Nick look really, really nice in that second half, So, like, shout out to the Broncos offense. And I will say, the end of that game, man, the very end of that game, it felt like play calling for the Giants was very off. It was very weird to me. Like, on that last drive where they had to get a touchdown to, take it back again, they were just spamming deep passes, like play after play. They treated every single play like it was 4th and 20, which was weird to me. They were not trying to march down the field at all, waste some more clock, and they kind of got bailed out by a big DPI call. They got bailed out there, and but overall it was a good game. Like you said, if I was a Giants fan and I was waking up, I would be royally pissed. I don't think Giants fans really expected to be like contenders this year, but that's one of the games that you really want to win. You're on the road. You had the lead. If you win that game, it's really off to the races for the Giants, and we have to seriously consider them as contenders. But you lost that game, so a little the reverse effect. But no, man, I'm good. Some other games yesterday I'm sure we'll get into later in our Around the League segment, but we got some Ravens news. Ravens football is officially back this week. It's week 8. The Ravens will be taking on Chicago Bears in Baltimore. And ahead of that game, this is Monday that we're recording this episode. Actually, this morning, there was an article released, Alex, by the Baltimore Sun, which is going to be our first topic of this episode. And you guys can see the title. It was a shocking report that came out of Baltimore, and basically it just kind of reveals, and this is based off of 25 sources that the Baltimore Sun found, people inside the Ravens organization, inside the locker room, some of the players, things like that, and you kind of get an idea of what their grievances are. And Alex, you told me before we got on that you hadn't gotten the chance to read this yet. It kind of paid for. I did not pay for, but luckily, everybody on Twitter who did pay for it, they basically just took like the most important quotes from it and they posted it on Twitter. So we're going to do that No, and if you haven't heard, or if you haven't heard about this article or read it yourself, buckle up because it's pretty damn insightful. They're talking about why the Ravens are as bad as they are right now. So, Alex, I'm going to go through a couple of quotes, right? And as I go through these quotes, just stop me whenever you like hear some bullshit that you want to comment on, or you have a take
Okay.
that you want to give us. Just stop me.
I'll try to
All right.
try to just keep silent the whole way, but you go ahead and let's see what we got here.
All right, cool. All right, cool. So now, guys, listen. These are multiple quotes from again quote unquote veteran Raven players in the locker room. So these are coming from actually inside the castle. First quote is this, and I quote: "It was that Bills game that put a beating on us mentally, where it felt like everything was ending, even though it was only the first game. When we have so much time to recover, such a long season, and we let that carry over." That was the first quote, right? And that was just kind of confirming what all of us Ravens fans had been saying since week one. Hell, we were even saying it for week like, hey, you got to win this Bills game because if you lose this Bills game, it's going to be a huge emotional dump, which it was a huge adrenaline dump, which it was. Luckily, they were able to go and beat the Browns the next week, and obviously they haven't won a game since. But the fact that one of the players in the locker room is openly admitting, like, hey, yeah, like that game, that Bills game took a lot out of us. That's huge to me. That's very, very telling. Also, want to um, give a shout out to the NFL for continuing for some reason to give us these week one games against like some of the best teams in the league that just beat us in the playoffs. It's just like, why do you keep doing us like this, man? Give us the Jets week one, like how it used to be. Give us the Dolphins, right? One of those type of teams. But Alex, what do you take from that part?
You can definitely see it when you give up that big of a lead week one, and our offense, man, was just lights out. We were scoring, 3 play drives, less than 6 play drives. It was real quick, bang, bang, bang. And when you throw your defense back on the field, and they can't stop anything, you can see why you feel like that. And just the fumble, from Derrick Henry, really the cherry on top. So I'm not surprised, I'd say, about it, but it's just, it's very. Um, hmm, just hearing them say, come from their mouths, and it having this impact that we've kind of been speculating, which us as fans, like that's our job kind of, is we speculate. We're never going to know 100% how they're feeling, but to hear those feelings out loud, that this is still, weighing on their shoulders, a month and change later, that definitely shocks me to the point where, like, all right, like, there's some problems in this locker room that we
Yeah,
already knew
there's
there were
some
problems, but
demons.
yeah, right now there's some sleep paralysis demons right now. They might be waking up in the middle of the night, seeing Matt Prater kick that game winning field goal, or seeing, Josh Allen score, or James Cook take just a simple just catch in the flat for 50 yards because Roquan can't tackle. There are some demons, like you said, and that's definitely scary when we're now in what, week 7, week 8. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. Lisa says maybe we were tired after Buffalo. Yeah, definitely tired, mentally exhausted, obviously, right? But let's continue to the next quote. And I want to say this as well. I want to preface it with this. I don't know exactly when they collected each of these quotes. It doesn't tell us that. Like I would love to know whether or not these were recorded after directly after the Bills game or directly after the Chiefs game. It feels like some of these came after the Chiefs game. That's what it feels like to me. Let's continue though. There was another quote by another Ravens veteran, and it says, I quote, "It's freaking Lamar Jackson. How can you not find ways to have success with Lamar Jackson? But I'm pretty sure if you put Patrick Holmes out there for us right now, the same things will be happening." End quote. Now that one there, and you kind of opened my eyes to something before we went live here, and I want you to enlighten the audience as well, Alex. Like that one there, I was kind of wondering, like, who would say such a thing? You know what I mean? I think me personally, I think it's D Hop. You talk about a vet. You talk about a guy who's a mercenary. This is his first year in Baltimore. He's kind of seeing things for the first time and taking it all in. I wouldn't be surprised if he was candid like this in his answer, especially considering he acted with Patrick Holmes last year with the Chiefs. But Alex, who do you think that could be, and what do you think about this quote overall?
I thought, first off, it was a guy who's already called out this head coach and this GM before, and that being Rashad Bateman. He definitely, to me, has that tone of, like, it's freaking, like, that he wants to curse but he can't. And if it wasn't offensive, I'd say it's Marlon Humphrey, because he loves saying that, like, oh, like, he won't curse. I don't know if you watch his podcast, but he will not curse whatsoever. So, but I definitely think it's Bateman on the offensive side, and to hear that, um, it's definitely surprising because this offense was one of like the green flags I say of this team. We were going out there and scoring. And we were having no problem scoring. Lions game, we were up. That we weren't losing the whole game against Detroit, even with Lamar getting sacked 8 times. So that definitely surprised me. Um, but why is it all Munkin? My problem is why have we not heard anything defensively yet? And I know you're gonna get into that, but it's just surprising
Yeah.
that having the 32nd ranked defense and for this defense to give up more points already than a 2000 Ravens defense gave altogether through 6 games. That is very, very telling to me that nothing's really being said about defensive coordinator Zach Orr.
Yeah, and speaking of Zach Orr, I'm going to continue with some of these quotes here and kind of further proves your point, Alex, that the players or whoever is giving these anonymous quotes, they have no smoke for Zach, and most of it is for Todd Monken. So let's keep rolling here. So as I said before, one of the players says it just feels different. I don't feel like guys are being put in position to succeed with this offense. Another quote says this. Teams did not have any film on us. Now they've seen everything that we've done, so we have to be more creative and put guys in spaces to succeed. Talking about the offense. And another quote says, "A mistake is not going to kill, but these little mistakes all over the place continuing is just like a snowball. It messes with you mentally." And then another quote says, "It makes Zach Orr look bad when he's actually calling the right stuff." So I have a theory
Okay.
on why you're not getting as much smoke for Zach Orr as you're getting for Todd Monken. And it's very simple. I think Zach Orr is just much, much more of a relatable coach and a much more down to earth coach, much closer to being a player, right, mentally than he is a coach. And I feel like players kind of they take heed of that, and I think that they look at Zach Orr as more of like a teammate, more of like a brother, right? Somebody who's out there fighting with him as opposed to a coach, right? So I don't think that really going to hear anybody throw Zach Orr underneath the bus. I mean, Zach Orr is a guy who if you put it in perspective like this, the dresses on his off days, his street clothes like Rashad Bateman dresses, right? They're kind of similar in style. That should tell you all you need to know. Am I right? Like this guy is closer to relating to the players and is with his peers in the coaching staff. So I think that you wouldn't really hear guys throwing him under the bus like that. What say you to that? Because obviously, again, like you said, historically, this defense is on track to be historically bad. So it makes no sense why nobody would call Zach Orr and they'd have all this for Todd Monken. But that's why I think that's happening. But what say you?
You genuinely took the words out of my mouth. More relatable. It's like that's your teammate, that's your brother right there. He's going out there on the field with you. So if I talk about him, I'm talking about the whole other 10, 11 guys on the field, and I cannot agree with you more. I really think that's the difference. To me, Todd Monken comes off as like the coach where kind of like you want to be on his good side, because if you're on his good side, it's not going to be good for you. You got to kind of do what he says. Zach Warren, on the other hand, like
Yeah.
he's one of you guys. Like if there's a boss, he's one of like not say his lowers, but the guys that he's taking charge of. I don't
Yeah.
think Monk is not going to be that guy who's going to go out there have a beer with you on Friday night. A happy hour. Zach Gore would, and not only would he do that, like you said, he's going to probably come up in a fit more expensive than you and nicer than you and outdress you. And here's Munkin with this, the team baggy. Like that's the difference between the two, and I can definitely see why Munkin is holding more smoke than Zach Orr. So that's a great point by you.
Yeah, man. I mean, it definitely feels like Zach Orr is much more of a player's coach, and Todd Monken is a coach's coach. For lack of better words, that's pretty much what we got here. Um, Guys, we got over 60 people watching live right now. Thank you guys so much for coming out to this episode 344 of the Purple Rain podcast. I'm Sutton Death, along with my co-host Simply AS10. If you are enjoying this Raven content, make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel as well if you would like more where this came from. But let's continue. There was a couple more quotes here. Let me see. So we got through the Zach Orr stuff, the Todd Monken stuff. There was something else that I pulled from this. Oh yeah. So this one was pretty funny to me. This says after the loss to Kansas City, the Ravens coaching staff removed several quote unquote distractions from the locker room, including the ping pong table, the cornhole boards, the basketball hoop, and the video game consoles. Now, again, remember, this is after the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. That was the one where the Ravens just looked like they pretty much gave in the second half, right? Now, on the one hand, and I really want to get your opinion on this one, Alex, because this one's pretty interesting to me. But on the one hand, based off of the performance that we saw from that Ravens team that day when the Chiefs blew the doors off of us, I could see you wanting to, make some cultural type changes because you just quit like that, right? We all kind of agreed that the Ravens kind of quit that day, right? So I can understand the Ravens coaching staff saying, okay, look, we're going to take away some of these quote unquote distractions. However, I would say that them doing that, I think sends a message inadvertently, even maybe even to the players that says, hey, look, you guys are accountable. You guys, players, not us coaches, but you guys are accountable for these struggles here on this Ravens team. We got a super chat donation. Eli Sports Guy making it rain here in the chat with
What's
the
up? What's
two
up?
piece. Appreciate you, Eli. Says last week I said Lamar was not playing. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to that next. We're gonna get to that next. That is some more huge news that came out today. Obviously, that Lamar has not practiced yet this week, so we're gonna get to that. But thank you for your super chat donation. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, it's just to me again, it kind of feels like it takes some of the onus off of the coaches, and you're kind of saying like, hey, look, it's on you guys, it's on the players. But what did you do in that?
Yeah, and I remember Cordell brought this up when he was on the show. Cordell Woodland from 105.7 The Fan. He mentioned that
Yeah,
when he went in there, that was all taken away, and I guess we didn't really put too much stock into it. But now I think with us being 1-5, you can really kind of see that. Like, why are you taking away from the players? I think when the coaches equally have been just as poor, all around from the
yeah.
coordinators to position coaches to George Warcrom. I mean Warhop, as a O line, and then even the linebackers coach. We have a first year guy there. Like, I'm not sure what their job is because I have not seen much improvement from those guys. But take away the video games, like that's what's 1-5 is the damn is like Kwame says, this ping pong table. It's the basketball hoop. That's what it is. That's why we're losing.
Yeah,
And when you do this, I don't want to be that fan, but you can see why fans critique the podcast, the extracurricular stuff out off the field, because they're taking away. That's
mm,
their own time. That's not practice time. That's them in the castle. That's leisure time there. They took it away from them. So it's shocking to hear that we're that team. It's never the Ravens. I'm used to it being the Browns. I'm used to being dysfunctional franchises. But now it's kind of come full circle. Like, no, like that's us. That's the Ravens in
y-
2025. We're that team.
yeah, yeah, and taking it a step further, I think that because if you remember, I think in the last couple of years, this was back when Marcus Williams was still on the team and he was actually good for the Ravens. So yeah, back then, I remember watching a couple of different Ravens Wired episodes, right? Where those players would utilize those ping pong tables. They would utilize, those cornhole boards and things like that, and it would bring them together. It created like more synergy and like chemistry and cohesiveness, right? You get to like compete with your teammates is something outside of football. I think it sharpens your mind. And as much as iron sharpens iron on the field, I think iron can sharpen iron mentally as well. And I know that that was the entire premise of putting those games in there in the first place, right? So like when you take them away, you're basically saying like, oh yeah, we don't need camaraderie, right? We don't need like guys having a competition outside of the woes of everyday struggling football. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't add up to me. And again, it does feel like it's taking some responsibility or a lot of responsibility off of the coaches and putting it all on the players and said, hey, look, you guys are not focused. You guys are not locked in. It's not on the coaches. It's on y'all. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
So,
and that's a great point you bring up because I feel like even with those games, as minuscule as it may be, and I'm not a psych major, I'm not trying to be, but you can really
mhm.
learn a lot from those games. It's the smaller things about the teammates. Their play styles aggressively. I mean, cornhole. Are they
Yes.
are they going to get the beanbag in hole? Or are they going to knock somebody off? Like, I don't want to be that
Mm,
guy, but it's really stuff that small that you can know and learn more about somebody, and especially in a
right.
team chemistry in a environment like that, you need it. So I can't believe this is like a story we're talking about in October. Like, I was expecting me and you to be like, all right, like we're the one seed right now. Like, if we're in August or June, like we're talking about, all right, who do we play maybe in the divisional round? But no, like we're talking about the ping pong tables being taken away, video games, and the basketball hoops.
Yeah.
What a timeline. Mm.
What a timeline indeed. So, but those were the major kind of points from that article that came out today. A lot of people were talking about it. Pretty shocking stuff, to be honest with you, that a player basically comes out and said a lot of the same things that fans have been saying for the past month and some change, however long football's been back. So it kind of confirms everything that we were thinking, Alex. Me, you, all the other Ravens content creators in the space, we've largely been echoing the same things for the past couple of weeks, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see that the players kind of agree outside of the not really giving a whole lot of smoke for Zach Orr. That's kind of weird, but I think we kind of broke that down and you guys why. But yeah, definitely very interesting stuff ahead of the Ravens Week 8 matchup against the Chicago Bears, which we will be previewing this Thursday. So make sure you stay locked into the Brain Podcast YouTube channel if you do not want to miss that. It's going to be an episode Thursday, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell down below underneath this video as well, so you can be notified every time we go live here at PRP. But okay, Alex, let's go ahead and continue here, shall we? Let's go ahead and continue to some other news that came out today, right? So the Ravens went back to practice today. The Ravens went back to practice, and the good news is there was a lot of Ravens who came back to practice today. A lot of them came back. Most notably for me, you had Chidobe Awuzie. He came back to practice. You had Roquan Smith, who came back to practice as well. There was one more. I want to say it was Ronnie Stanley.
Yep.
I want to say it was Stanley who
And
came
Ricard.
back. Okay, yeah. Stanley. Oh, yeah, and Ricard back too. Perfect. Yes. Yeah, so good signs there. However, there's one certain quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens who is still not practicing. That is right. Lamar Jackson, number 8, is still not practicing for the Ravens as of today, October the 20th, 2025. Now, mind you, it's been 22 days since he went down with that hamstring against the Chiefs. Originally, we were told that this was going to be a 2 to 3 week thing, and we're coming up on this third week now. All the reports last week were that, oh, yeah, Lamar, he's expected to play. He's expected to be back against the Bears. But today we found out something that may be a little bit concerning to Ravens fans. So I want to play this video really quick of how John Harbaugh sounded before the bye, talking about Lamar coming back to play, and how he sounded today discussing Lamar's hamstring. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Harbaugh had to say.
Be a big one,
John, you mentioned Lamar for sure back for Bears as soon as that.
Well, I mean, for sure, I'm saying so, but I don't know. Well, that's how life is. Sometimes you can't predict everything. It's still the future, but that's the hope.
John, good to see Lamar out there. Do you still anticipate him practicing this week?
I think all the guys are working really hard to get back. I can tell you that. So we'll see who's back and who practices on Wednesday. I don't really want to comment on any individual guys per se, and I'm looking forward to it.
You said you anticipate Lamar playing this week.
Same man.
Definitely difference in tone there for sure. I want to go on the record. I think he does play, but if we come up here on Thursday and Lamar has not practiced, cooked, sauteed, fried, however you like it, cooked. But Wednesday, if I see him in practice Wednesday, I want to just kind of ease my nerves by saying it's kind of like a walkthrough today, maybe possibly. But him out there still isn't the best of news.
Yeah, definitely not the best of news at all. It's just for me, I don't know, man. It feels like right now with him not practicing. Today's Monday, right? You said there's no practice tomorrow, right? It starts back on Wednesday, or
I believe so. Yep.
okay. Yeah, if he's not back Wednesday, at least practicing in a limited fashion, I think that tells you right there that he's nowhere near 100%, right? It tells you he's nowhere near 100%, and there is a real chance that the Ravens leave him out one more week and want him to do a quick turnaround against Miami, and he'll debut against the Dolphins instead of against the Bears. Now, that will put the Ravens in a very, very tricky spot if Lamar Jackson did not start against the Chicago, because you'd be trotting out. I'm sure they probably want to trot out Cooper Rush again and give him another chance, give him the benefit of the doubt from what happened. I know us Ravens fans would be in an absolute fucking uproar if it were to happen, because, like, why not start Tyler Huntley at this point after you saw what he did at the end of the Rams game? However, again, it is concerning, though. It does concern. I thought that at least you would see him at the practice today. I think Cordell Woodland, again, in front of the show, reported that he didn't see Lamar Jackson at all at practice. He wasn't on the field at all, like, not even on a side field, working on his own trainer. Again, not practicing in limited facts. He just didn't practice straight up at all. And maybe this is just the Ravens erring on the side of a caution just a little bit more, right? But I don't know, man. This time to panic.
I'm not gonna panic yet. Thursday might be the episode where it all goes up in flames, but not yet. Not yet. I'm trying to
Yeah.
err on the glass half full. Um, but I, it's really good news of who we got back. I say, especially Ricard, Stanley, and Awuzie. I'm not gonna really. I mean, Roquan, I
Yeah.
guess, is an upgrade of what we had, considering we had Teddy Buchanan's father like threatening members of the Ravens flock. I don't know if you saw that. That was definitely interesting.
Yeah. So he
Definitely
threatened Cole.
interesting.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, like listen, I get, you don't want to see your kid but get off of social media. It's not going to be healthy for you as a, a parent of a player.
It's
Especially when
funny
it's
he
like,
deleted the tweet too.
yeah, and it was like, it's not, all respect to Cole, it was not negative. There's a lot of people in there you can be negative towards because they say some just heinous crazy stuff, but it was like more constructive criticism. But if you get Lamar back on Wednesday, I mean, Thursday will be a much better episode, but we still are 1-5, so we really can't be that much more, sunshine and rainbows. Not yet, at least.
I mean, basically, the playoffs start today for the Ravens, right? You
Yeah,
cannot afford to lose pretty much any more games. I mean, the Ravens have 5 losses right now. The way that the AFC is looking, the Ravens do still have a shot, pretty outside chance to make the playoffs, whether that be by securing one of these wild card spots if either the Chargers continue to lose or the Jaguars continue to slide, or if the Steelers continue to slide as well. I mean, they have a pretty brutal schedule coming up. I think Packers, Colts coming down the pipeline pretty soon for the Steelers. So if they continue to drop games, there's an avenue there for the Ravens to get in. But either way, man, you cannot afford to lose basically any more games. You damn near have to run the table. And if you don't run the table, you're going to need some outside help with other teams losing in order to make the playoffs at this point. That's what it's feeling like. Kwame says, Cancun, here we come.
I'd say this: you got to win the division to make the playoffs. You are not going to get wild card. I think I was at a point rooting for the Broncos to lose yesterday and I got laughed at
Yeah.
because I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about the wild card, and you can laugh at me, but that's
Yeah.
kind of where my head's at now. You gotta think about this stuff now. If you're one of the fans who want to make, I get if you want a lower pick, but I don't know if really trust us to get a pick in the top 10 because who knows what we could do there. But I think the only way you make it is if you win the division and you're gonna somehow scam a home playoff game. So that would definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah. I
happens.
mean, if it happens, right? I mean, again, I think Chiefs are going to win the AFC West, which means that you're going to have teams like the Chargers, you're going to have teams like the Broncos who are jockeying for position to get a wild card spot, and that's just out of one division. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what the Texans are going to do. We don't know if the Jaguars are going to bounce back over in the South. So it's going to be tough. It's possible. It's possible to get a wild card spot, but I do think it's more likely to win the division. I agree with you.
I think, and I'll say it right now, October 20th, I think the Chiefs will be the 1 seed. They look good. They
That's
look
fair.
really good.
Very
They look
fair.
really good.
Yeah.
I know the Colts
Yeah.
are what 5-1, 6-1, and you know what? I'm about to hold
6-1.
my hand up. I'm about to hold my hand up and say they aren't who I thought they were. They're a good team, but I think in a playoff atmosphere, I think that the Chiefs would beat them. But I still have them, going 1 seed. I think them getting Rasheed Rice back, they look good yesterday. I don't know if you watched that game. That offense was moving,
Yeah.
and really without the big plays, it was just dink and dunk. It was good methodical football.
That's what championship teams are good at, right? They're good at just finding ways to win, and then when you give them an actual weapon, I mean, they were saying all week how like no, they're not low roll Rasheed Rice back into being a part of this offensive game plan. He's going to come in and he's going to impact our game, our offense immediately. And what did he do yesterday? Had 2 touchdowns. I want to say, right?
Yep.
2 touchdowns in his first game back, man. I mean, it goes to show, man, the Chiefs team, they are riding high right now. And I agree. I think that they're going to I know that they're definitely going to win their division. I can totally see that. But in terms of winning the conference, that is totally on the table, man. Because I do expect the Colts at some point to take a little backslide, right? They'll probably get knocked off in one of these games. Who did they lose to this year, the Colts? What was the one game they lost?
It was the Rams when AD Mitchell dropped the ball, and I think he's been
Oh,
inactive since.
yeah.
I'll tell you this about Daniel Jones.
Go
I
ahead.
don't want to go too much. He's a good quarterback when he has an elite running back behind him. think back to the Giants when they made the playoffs. It was Saquon, taking the pressure off him. That's kind of what you have to do with quarterbacks like him. Build around him. Look at Ryan Tannehill with Derrick Henry. Take the pressure off of him. And I'm seeing it with Jonathan Taylor, who looks absolutely probably the best running back in the league right now.
Oh yeah.
He just looks unstoppable. He put up a hat trick like it was nothing yesterday. Red zone, flash to the Colts, touchdown JT, touchdown JT. I'm like, what is going on right now? I mean, they do look good.
Oh, damn good. Damn good. Let me see. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here to some other transactional news for this Ravens team. A couple moves were made today. Well, not necessarily moves, but the Ravens actually worked out a couple of players. They had veteran linebackers Jesse Luketa and Carl Lawson, the name should ring a bell, in for workouts today. So I know Carl Lawson's the one that a lot of people are like kind of raising their eyebrows at. Oh, defensive end help. What could he possibly do? Does Ravens are dumpster diving a little bit? Does feel like Carl Lawson a little bit over the hill. He's 30 years old. So, his best football probably behind him. 2024 season, he had, I want to say, 5 sacks last year. So not a terrible season, but the Ravens need defensive end help, just point blank period. So wherever they can get it, if you can get it for basically next to nothing, I'm all for it. But what did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're looking at. He's not going to be a guy coming here getting double-digit sacks. I think he was hurt
Right.
2023 and had 7 sacks 2022. Um, it's better than what we have,
Yeah.
and that's saying a lot. I did see a report came out today about the Dolphins. Jalen Phillips is up there. Bradley Chubb, Matt Judon, I believe, was a healthy scratch yesterday against the Browns. I think
Interesting.
he's just looked absolutely just out of it since the Dolphins have kind of just been a really bad team, and you kind of know what they are now. So I'm not sure what's going on with there, but I do it like, and I think there was a report from Ian Rappaport. We are calling around for defensive help. So
Yeah.
I don't want it unless we win this week. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to go trade for a guy, and I don't want it to be a 1 year rental either. No, thank you. No, like I want him to be a good player. And I see people, fancy around a Quinn Williams, but I think you got to, at least be 3-5 for that one. You got to win these next 2 games and really have a chance to win the division. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think we'll make a signing or a trade, but it's not going to be, a blockbuster.
Yeah. At this point, that's what it's really feeling like. I mean, EC, he's at bat right now. It's all eyes are on him, and we're looking at him for, are you going to take that thing? What are you going to do? And I think that this is also why it's so important to know whether or not Lamar Jackson is going to play this Sunday against the Bears, because if he doesn't play, that there's a massive swing in the line, right? Because right now the Ravens are 6.5 point favorites. Last time I checked, 6.5 point favorites against a team that's 4 in a row, right? Meanwhile, the Ravens have lost 4 in a row. That is absolutely insane. Lamar Jackson effect there is incredible, right? By the way, almost 90 people watching live. Thank y'all for coming out. Appreciate you coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 344. Tila M, I see you in the chat, one of our members here. Appreciate you for coming through, Tila. Good evening. If you guys like the video and subscribe as well. But yeah, man, it's going to be so important, whether or not Lamar Jackson plays or not this week. Because again, before Lamar Jackson goes down with an I word, averaging 30+ points a game. Without him, you're averaging 6. And we've said it multiple times before, but that floor is you literally cannot win football games competitive without Lamar Jackson on the field. So I know we're all holding our breath. We're going to be waiting out for Wednesday to hear whether or not he's going to be ready and good to go. All the insiders last that, yeah, next week Lamar Jackson will be back. Today, it's kind of like again, maybe they're erring on the side of caution and keeping him out. Who knows? But today, I do think that the Ravens bringing in defensive end help is a net positive. It's a good sign because the Ravens, I mean, we need bodies. We need competent bodies at this point. Bodies to play football. That's what the Ravens need, whether that's defensive end, whether that's defensive tackle, which is what I personally would prefer. Go out and get yourself a good interior who can shut down the run. And then also on certain plays, command double teams. Because right now, the only one on our defensive line who commands a double team is Travis Jones. And when they double him, he's completely taken out of the play, right?
Yeah.
And teams can kind of do what they want with us. But yeah, what you got?
And you mentioned that it's a plus 265 for the Bears on FanDuel right now.
Can you
I take
imagine
it.
how much that would swing?
I would
Yeah.
take it. I would take it right now. Um,
Yeah.
if you have the money just to dabble, that's from a diehard Ravens fans, because if he's not practicing Wednesday, it's going to
Hmm.
completely flip, and you're
Yep.
obviously you're going to get money back there because they're going to start offering you a higher cash out. So
Yep.
do with
Yep.
that as you please. But that's what I would do.
For sure. For sure. And others, the Ravens, what do they do? The Ravens have signed wide receiver Colton Dowell, former Tennessee Titan, to the practice squad. Okay. Right. I guess. Am I
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't even know who this guy is. Full
yeah,
disclosure. But help on the practice squad at wide receiver. It's like, can he rush the passer? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or can he stuff the run from the inside? Can he
yeah,
replace 77 on the O line? If none of that, I really don't care to hear this news. You
yeah.
know what I
Or
mean?
72,
So,
either one. I'll take it.
or 72, yeah, either one. Take your pick. Chris M in the chat. What's going on, Chris M? Another one of our members here at PRP. Appreciate
What's
you
up?
for
What's up?
coming through. We also got Coach Evan in the house. Sip to Tally
What's up?
Films.
What's
What's going
up?
on, Coach? Appreciate you for rolling through this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. About 100 people watching live right now. Thank you so much for coming through. Make sure you like the video, subscribe as well. Ashley says all these wide receivers, and she rolls her eyes. Yeah, that's pretty much what it feels like. Pretty much what it
Yeah,
feels like. But outside of that, Alex, doesn't really seem like we have a whole lot more news to cover when it comes to Baltimore Ravens, right?
yeah.
Obviously, Thursday is going to be our preview episode where we break down everything that's going to go down in this game. Francie, appreciate the
Welcome,
sub.
welcome.
Yeah, Thursday, make sure you guys subscribe, just like Francie did there. You can get a little animation on the screen if you do want to come back and listen to our Thursday episode. It's going to be a great one. Next, we're going to get into some some around the league talk, some things that happened in the games yesterday. It's funny. I tweeted earlier, or somebody tweeted earlier. They were like, Saquon Barkley hasn't been since he linked with Donald Trump, and then I quoted and I was like, the Ravens haven't been shit since Harbaugh linked with Donald Trump. Funny enough, the Ravens are 1-5 since that
Yeah,
feud.
I mean, I'll go even further. They really haven't since we linked up with the team in London. But I'm not gonna be that petty. But that is true. I think that's where it really started was with that picture with Harbaugh. Um, man, that's a great point. That's a fantastic point. But going around the
Yeah,
league,
just yeah,
so
going around the league. So yeah,
can we
going
start
around the
Thursday?
league, guys.
Can we start Thursday?
Sure. Oh, perfect.
Can-
Perfect. Perfect. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. Bengals, Steelers. What did you think? Because we both picked the Steelers to win. Our guest on the last episode, Josh Berman, he picked Bengals to beat the Steelers. He picked Joseph Vincent Flacco, to turn the clocks back and beat the Steelers. That's exactly what he did. It was insane. What were your thoughts on that game, though? Give me your thoughts.
Joseph Vincent Flacco. Watch this guy in person week 2. Awful, pitiful. Threw an awful pick
Yeah.
to Nate Wiggins. I I don't know who it was out there Thursday. He was possessed. He was absolutely possessed. That's the problem with Joseph Vincent. I think he gets hot, and when he's hot, he can be anybody in the league. And I mean that wholeheartedly. But when he loses that confidence, he's a bottom tier quarterback. So my thing is now is the Bengals, thankfully for the Ravens, he's gonna get hot. He'll have a good 3 to 4 game stretch, and then he's gonna fall off of a cliff. It'll be right in
Yeah.
time when we play the Bengals. It'll be right in time. And we can snatch our 2 wins off of them. This is me being delusional, and it's fine. But for that Thursday night game, you can see why Tomlin was upset at Andrew Berry, why he traded him. I understand why
Yep.
Tomlin was upset. Thank you, Joe, for beating the Steelers. That was unbelievable, and it was kind of a cool thing to see. And he's been playing. He's what 40-something years old, playing with guys who it's the best guys he's ever been around his whole life. I respect to
Yep.
Bolden, Jacoby, and Torrey. Respect to them all. But when you have Jamar and T by themselves, hell, Yoshivis as a 3. Noah Fant to me he's not a bad tight end. He's a solid guy. That's not bad to throw to. That's what's gonna happen. So good on them. And nothing makes me happy than seeing Aaron Rodgers lose and upset. I love it. I love it.
But that was a really, really good game, though. And Aaron Rodgers played his ass off. He
Yeah.
looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers in multiple cases. And I was like, man, this is the reason why I love the NFL, right? Like you get to see 2 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks. They called it the Unk Bowl, right? And they were just schooling it out, man. I mean, I'm talking just like touchdown after touchdown. Obviously, Joe Flacco has the best receiver in the league who had, what, 16 catches for over
Bro,
160 yards and a touchdown. It
60.
was insane. I think he targeted him over 20 plus times. It's just like the thing about Joe Flacco, like you mentioned before, like this is the best talent that he's had on offense in his entire career. I don't care if you want to bring up Torrey Smith. I don't care if you want to bring up Anquan Bolden, Derek May, whoever you want to bring up. This is the best talent that he had at wide receiver in a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins. The tandem of those two, like you said, even Yoshi Voss at the third position, he's, man, if I'm a betting man, which I tend to be sometimes, right? I'm betting on every single Cincinnati Bengals game based off of what happened in that Thursday night football game. I'm taking Jamar Chase's overs, right? I'm taking T. Higgins overs because Joe Flacco looked like a guy who said, like, look, man, I'm a vet. I'm not about to be out here trying to force the football to other guys who clearly aren't as good as these guys. I'm going to use these tools in front of me. I'm not going to outsmart myself. Yeah, I'm going to throw the ball to Jamar Chase times because he's the best wide receiver in the game. And you see what happens when you throw the ball that way. Black Daniel says in the chat, both running backs went over 100 yards too. Yeah.
Yep.
Chase Brown over 100 yards rushing.
That's
I mean, it was
embarrassing.
just,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think he's a good running back. I think he's middle of the pack. I really do. Nothing about him excites me. This to me is more of a testament to the Steelers defense. And before I go there, I want to bring up what you said about Flacco. Do you think Joe cares
Mhm.
about what Mitchell Tinsley, Charlie Jones, or Jermaine Burton think about him? Because he's not throwing on the ball.
No.
Joe could give two flying at what they think. He's going to get the ball to the best receiver he's ever played with, Jamar Chase. That is no disrespect to Bolden or to Derek Mason. This guy Jamar is absolutely unreal. I mean, and then T. Higgins as well. He's going to feed him the ball. But now to the Steelers defense. 170,
Mhm.
200 million, and to see him do that, I mean, we can say this as Ravens fans. We've seen our very expensive defense fold in big situations. Jalen
Yeah.
Ramsey was talking all that. He wanted this. He wanted to see them. And I remember, I think it was like 2014 or 15. He came out when he was with the Jags, and he called all these quarterbacks bad. And Flacco was one of the quarterbacks he actually had a lot to say about poorly, and it kind of made me happy that Joe they just dunked on him. Like he tested him 1-on-1, a ball to Jamar Chase. That was something else.
Yeah, he did that multiple times. I mean, there was the play where um it was Jamar Chase and what's his name? Jalen Ramsey 1-on-1. And I think it was the offensive pass interference or something like that. There was some sort of penalty that negated the catch. And then Joe just goes right back to him on the very next play. On the very next play. Actually, I think it was a drop by Jamar Chase. And he goes right back on the very next play. And Jamar Chase is like, I'm not dropping this one this time. It felt like literally just like kind of like backyard football out there, like pitch and catch to Jamar Chase all damn night, And again, it is embarrassing for a Steelers defense who, most of their money is invested into that side of the ball. To have a defensive minded head coach. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of the way that Errol Austin, their defensive coordinator, was calling that game up to that point. I mean, I think you got to get. I don't want to say you got to put more traffic in the way of Jamar Chase. You just have to, right? If T. Higgins beats you on the outside, one-on-one, matched with whoever, you shake their hand, say good day, right? You were better that day. But you cannot allow Jamar Chase to take, 2-yard up and in slants, right? Like it's just nothing. He's going to be wide open over the middle every single time. Right? You can use that as a simulated running game, right? Because it's so low stakes. Like he's just right there wide open, you know? And like I said, the Steelers have a lot of money poured into the defensive side of the football. They have what we call like a designer defense, right? A bunch of money, very flashy, but really not a whole lot of state to that sizzle is what it seems like, right? Josh Berman came on the show earlier, last week. He said that, they're very turnover dependent. That was evident. I disagreed with him in the moment, but that was evident, man. And, the Bengals took advantage of that. Good on the Bengals for getting that win. The Ravens certainly needed the Steelers to start dropping some games here, and especially that was a game that the Steelers were not supposed to lose, but they're going into a bunch of games that they're supposed to lose. So it's looking like the Steelers could be taking a little backslide. We'll see. But going around the league a little bit more, right? Excuse me. Let me see. So this Saints versus Chicago Bears game is one that I had my eye on, only because the Bears, they come to town next week or this week. And I was watching Caleb Williams in this offense. And to me, there's no way, because the way I look at Caleb Williams, I still view Caleb Williams as a rookie, right? He still has the same tendencies as a young rookie quarterback, only his second season, but he has the same tendencies as a rookie quarterback. He makes some of the same sort of mistakes, holds onto the ball a little bit too long, right? Fumbling the ball at multiple times. Like, it's just certain things, like little things like that, just kind of make me feel like this Ravens defense can disrupt him, right? Make him think twice, get him off of his first or second and hopefully get home for some sacks in this one. I'm looking for, at least with the way Caleb Williams holds the ball, I'm looking for at least 3+ sacks from this Ravens team. But what did you take from that game?
Yeah, it was ugly. It was so ugly. I mean, the weather I think wasn't even that bad. Rattler just he was losing the ball. Stupid ints, man. Like over the middle, double coverage, fumbles, and then they were just relying more on that running game. Swift was really carrying them. I thought getting in the end zone.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do think I hate to say I think Rome will get his against us. I think he will score against us. The way he's gone this season, he's good for a touchdown damn near every game. It feels like. So I said that though wasn't the most convincing. Saints, kind of had a chance to maybe win it. Olave late touchdown, but Bears did come away with it. 4 in a row coming to Baltimore. Their confidence is sky high. So we're not playing a pushover team. Like they still are very much in the running for the NFC North. The Lions have dropped games. They could drop the game tonight. They're beating the Buccaneers right now, but the Bucks probably their top 2 team in the NFC right now. So who knows what happens there? But they have a lot to play for. We have a little bit to play for. I'd say pride, but it's not going to be
sure.
easy whatsoever.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely going to need Lamar Jackson to play 1,000%. So moving on here, you had the Vikings and the Eagles, which was a
Oof.
pretty interesting. It looked like the Eagles kind of got back on track offensively. Jalen Hurts 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to AJ Brown, 1 of them to Devontae Smith. It seems like that's exactly what the doctor ordered that offense, especially with all the speculation going around lately about how they can't throw the ball. Their receivers are super agitated that they're not getting the football. They're not a huge focal point of this offense. And the Eagles basically just went out and said, okay, we're going to do exactly what you guys think we can't do. We're going to throw the football. Jalen Hurts went 19 for 23, 326 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked 3 times. Saquon Barkley continues to struggle. 18 carries for 44 yards, only 2.4 per carry. So this one was really on Jalen Hurts making the big boy throws, and that's exactly what he did.
Perfect passer rating. That was one of the best
Yeah.
games I think I saw from him in a while, man. Like maybe since the Super Bowl, he played pretty good there. But man, that game he had there, making the clutch throws, and my fantasy team thanked him for finally throwing to AJ Brown. I really really needed that. I think they're a better team to get away from this whole like this little tush push gimmick, man. Like only short yardage plays when they're expecting it, man. They're gonna put in this personnel. You can beat them deep, and the Vikings that's not a bad defense, and they beat them a couple of times deep. So good on them. I think the game is a little bit closer. They probably should have kept the foot on the gas. Um, didn't like how close it was for their sake, but we'll be seeing them Vikings in a couple of weeks. And I saw at the end of the game that their next home game is against us. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing Carson Wentz or JJ McCarthy because he still has not been out there. Might be a week or so away from coming back.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's like he's like a week or 2 away, which I think he's good to go by the time that the Ravens play him, which honestly, I don't really care who starts a quarterback for the Vikings when they play, either whether it's Carson Wentz or JJ McCarthy. We can, we should be able to, right? Should be able to, kind of in a way shut those quarterbacks down. Kwame B said Carson is handing out interception. That's what older vets tend to do, right? That's what older vets tend to do. Don Royal here says Jaden Daniels is no Lamar Jackson. Let's talk about the Commanders really quick. So the Commanders, they lost to the Cowboys 44-22 yesterday in a game where Jaden Daniels did leave the game early. I want to say he left the game in the 3rd quarter.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So and apparently he had an MRI today. It was a hamstring that he was dealing with, similar to our quarterback Lamar Jackson. They said the thing came back negative. He wouldn't have like a long-term absent, but right now he's considered week to week. That was per their coach earlier today. So, with this one here, Dak Prescott's been playing ass off all season. The Cowboys tend to do this, right? Their defense is not great at all, but their offense has a lot of talent on it. I mean, Dak Prescott, again, he's playing well. CeeDee Lamb just got back, and George Pickens is still playing really well for them. They got a ton of juice at wide receiver, and I feel like that's kind of like their claim to fame right now. They're not one of those teams who I feel like, and the record isn't all that great. What are they 3-1 right now? They had that one tie against the Packers, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and or who was that tie against? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was
Packers? I
Packers.
think it was the
Yeah.
Packers. Yeah. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I think that the Cowboys are another one of those teams that might be a little bit fraudulent, might start to backslide a little bit at some point. But what do you think about that game?
Not comparing it, but once Jaden Daniels went out, it felt like the Ravens Chiefs. It wasn't a blowout when he got hurt, but when he did, when Mariota came in, they just ran away with it. That Deron Bland pick six, that was such a bad play by Mariota. I think it was like first or second down.
Yeah,
Throw it away. Don't force it. Hell, take the sack. And he just, had the guy in the flat he thought, but that's the guy who leads the NFL ever in pick sixes. And you just throw it his way. Yeah, CD and Pickens, damn good 1-2. Damn good
oh
1-2.
yeah,
Thought more Bill was going to show up. Didn't happen. But Cowboys getting it done, but I just don't know how long it's going to last because that defense is not the best, just like ours. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing when them and the Eagles play. That's to me, that's probably going to be the 1 and 2 in the NFC East, depending how long Jaden Daniels is out. Unfortunately,
yeah. Other games we had the Las Vegas Raiders and Chiefs. We kind of touched on that earlier. The Chiefs just blanked the Raiders 31-0.
yeah,
And this was a game Raiders kind of fell apart. I know Max Crosby had up this game with an I word. I think a couple other guys did as well, but the Chiefs just look like, man, and I've kind of felt this way for the past couple weeks. I think it was ever since that Lions game. I think that was last week, I want to say. Ever since that game, it kind of woke me up and I realized, okay, the Chiefs are back. Like they're all the way back. They're getting Rashee Rice back. This defense is starting to make strides as well. Obviously, blaming the Raiders here, even though the Raiders aren't that good, but played very well. Patrick Mahomes is looking more comfortable. He's probably front runner for MVP right now. If I had to guess, it's between either him or maybe like a Baker Mayfield. I mean, you got Daniel Jones up there. I mean, well, I don't know if Daniel's top 5 right now, only because of what Jonathan Taylor's doing. Like you said before, like he wouldn't be as effective without Jonathan Taylor. I totally find that to be true. But yeah, man, the Chiefs are playing really, really good. They got right playing us at Kwame, and that's what I was thinking too. Definitely.
yeah. I think with them, I still think their weakness is their line. Their rookie tackle Simmons from Ohio State, who I did like, he just kind of like ducked off. He's in California right now. Like he went MIA,
Yeah.
and that was a
Some
big red
personal
flag.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, to why he fell off. Like his head and heart is not fully in football. But if you go into like another Super Bowl and they're playing a team with a good pass rush, and you have Taylor starting and a couple of those guys on the line, like I think they can get exposed again. But that's their only weakness. Outside of that, their defense, Spags has those guys playing right every single week. It feels like, and this guy will never get a head coaching job because of his age. And I get how the NFL is going, but he gets like 1 or 2 interviews, doesn't get it, and they have the same continuity. I also think Matt Nagy still isn't the best OC, but they're getting done. It's hard to fail when you have Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Worthy, Rasheed Rice, guys like that, and then Kelsey as well. Like you got guys to throw to. It's just hard to mess, and you have Mahomes at quarterback. So fortunately for them, I do think their division's a little bit fraudulent right now. Chargers as well, and the Raiders obviously are not going to do anything. So they'll probably win it, like you said. I think they'll be the 1 seed, and they're definitely for me pushing probably one of the best teams in the league. Even with their record,
Yeah.
they're playing a lot better than I think than a 4-3 team.
Yeah, Alex, we've talked about it multiple times before on the podcast how unfair it feels that they never get their coaches poached in the same way that the Ravens do. You know what I mean? Like, basically the name of the game is get you older coach who's like in his 70s, right, or approaching his 70s, who had struggled earlier in his career, and magically nobody will want him, right? You just no matter how good he is, right? I can only imagine if Chuck Pagano was like elevated to defensive coordinator for whatever reason, right? And the Ravens defense went from 0 to hero. By the end of the season, there'd be a bunch of teams lined up to take Chuck Pagano off of our hands. I'm just saying. That's what happens. Chris M in the chat says, "Poach John Harbaugh, please." That'll never happen. Nobody. I don't think anybody wants to poach John Harbaugh. He would have to get fired. I mean, I would agree. I mean, he would get hired damn near instantly. But it would be an amicable separation for sure.
Look at the quality of team that would poach him, though. That's all. I'm like, Pete Carroll came out and the Raiders got him because they've been dysfunctional for how long? I mean, their last good year was
Yeah.
when Gruden was there in 21 before those emails got leaked. Because they're a very good team that year, and they still made the playoffs with Biselli as head coach, and damn near almost beat the eventual AFC champions, the Bengals, in Cincy. But he would go to like a team like the Dolphins that could use a guy who really haven't had a good head coach in a while, or a respectable head coach. Now they have Logic right there, head coach, who's vaping on the sidelines. Guys aren't going to the meetings. It's embarrassing
Yeah.
for the Dolphins because they had so much promise. I think when they came back and beat us, I was like, this is a good offense. Tyreek, Waddle, too, was slinging that thing. Gesicki, I'm like, they can do some damage, make some noise. Downward trajectory
Wait,
since,
did
man.
you said they had who on the sideline?
Logic,
Logic?
yeah,
Are you comparing Mike McDaniel to like the rapper?
perhaps.
That's funny. I didn't know if that's exactly what you meant. I was thinking
That's
about it and I
exactly
was
what I
like,
meant.
damn. Like, yeah, like kind of like a smaller white dude, glasses, right?
A little
Hipster
out there.
almost, hipster look. Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
outlandish.
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's
You
funny.
probably have a good
Um,
conversation with them about like the space or something. So
yeah. I don't man, when it comes to the Dolphins, and they came earlier today that they don't have plans to make any changes, right? I guess at coach and neither at quarterback as well, because McDaniel said that Tua is still the starting quarterback, despite him benching Tua yesterday for Ewers. Um, but yeah, lots of dysfunction there. I mean, I would if I were them, I would be fire selling. Like right now, obviously you're not making the playoffs. You're not contending at all this season. So just offload your players and get ready to rebuild. You're gonna go to the next season with a brand new head coach, probably a new quarterback. It's time to sell. It's time to sell now
yeah,
while you can.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. But other than that, let me see. One more game I wanted to bring up before we got out of here. Colts Chargers. Colts
yeah.
beat the Chargers 38-24. This was a game where Justin Herbert, another up and down game. I mean, Justin Herbert checks notes. 37 completions on 55 attempts, had over 400 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was sacked 3 times, had 6 carries for 31 yards. Justin Herbert, without his top 2 tackles, went into the season without Rashawn Slater. Didn't play this game with Joe Alt. Of course, lost starting running back his young star Marion Hampton at running back. So they're kind of beat up right now, LA. But it's still, Justin Herbert still doesn't really seem to have, I guess you could say, turn the corner on like being like that perennial superstar, right? Just so inconsistent sometimes, right?
You know what that game was like? The Ravens playoff
Mm,
game against the Titans. All those yards he put up. And who's the
yeah,
OC? Who's like when the going gets tough? Greg Roman just kind of start throwing it. Throw it to whoever you got, and that's what it was. A lot of empty yards. It felt like at a point because they were never going to win the game.
right.
They weren't going to come
Yeah,
back. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I had them to win the game. I thought they're going to put out a better showing. The defense just did not look good whatsoever. Just they let Daniel Jones and JT do whatever they wanted. And Tyler Warren, by the way, shout out to him. He's had a great rookie season. What's going on, Steve? How you doing? I mean,
what's up?
yeah, they look good. The Colts and the Chargers just he was throwing picks, unlike him. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll have the conversation about him, but the media won't. And that's kind of how it's going to be
no,
with him.
heavens, no,
I mean, speaking about
no.
conversations, Trevor
Okay.
Lawrence.
Now, see with Lawrence, I've liked what I've seen from Lawrence in spots, but he's another one super inconsistent, right? But
Yep.
nobody really talks about Trevor Lawrence and his struggles, right? At the beginning of the season, you'll hear, "Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence has got to take that step forward this year. This is the got to get it done." But he'll have a game where he struggled and nobody talks about it. It's swept under the rug. Same thing with
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw Trevor Lawrence miss multiple throws yesterday. Yes, there were some drops. There were some drops in the likes of Brian Thomas and I believe it's Tim Patrick and you got to get Travis Hunter more involved. I'm surprised you saw what happens when you target Travis Hunter, right? He's a beast. Give him the
On
football.
Devontae Adams. On
Yeah.
Tay Adams. Like,
Right, he was. I don't want to say locking up Tay Adams, but he had a pass, at least one pass break up directly on Tay Adams. Then he had deep touchdown catch. And like, that guy's a unicorn. Utilize him. You drafted him, what, second or third overall? Third overall, I want to say, for a reason. For a reason. Like, use him. But no, man, Trevor Lawrence, he's definitely inconsistent too.
And what's really going unsaid is that the Rams got there with 1 day's rest. They got to London on Friday. Saturday, catch up, played a game Sunday, and blew them out the water. Absolutely blew them out the water. That is unreal to me. Like, no layover, hangover. I mean, credit to them, and give a little bit of shout out to the Orioles, I guess, for allowing them to use their field. I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that win from them. But that was, I mean, waking up and seeing that was surprising to say the least. I was expecting a bit of more of a game, and we talked about it last Thursday. Like, this is gonna be a good game, and they're gonna see a good game, and it was far from it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But all right, I think we're gonna go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. This is episode 344. Remember, guys, before you get out of here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. We got over 100 people watching live right now, so if you could, whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on YouTube or whatever platform, or whether you're listening on the podcast platforms, sure, you come over to YouTube, subscribe to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel on YouTube, and also like the videos as well. And if you could, just hype it down below. There's also that feature on YouTube now. We'd appreciate that. But yeah, we're gonna go watch some Monday Night Football. There's another doubleheader tonight, and I'll probably continue watching this new Hulu show that I started with my girlfriend after that as well. Is the Murdoch? Heard about that?
I have not. I'm not a big show guy, so I have not heard about it.
Oh man, if you guys haven't heard about that one, that's a really, really good show. Check it out. Cal says, y'all have a good week. And with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Yes, enjoy your week. Hope it is fantastic, and as always, stay positive and test negative.
Yes, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, call God. This has been episode 344 of PRP. We're gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.